Hi, I'm John Carpenter, psychiatric therapist and UFO researcher. Recently, I just got back from Brazil, South America, where I had given a presentation on alien abductions at an international conference in Curitiba. Curitiba is in the southern part of Brazil, which is more industrial and European in nature. I was much surprised at this. This is also the area where the case in Varginha is located. Before I went to Brazil, I had heard rumors about a saucer crash and the military capturing live beings. This was very mysterious, and so I figured by the time I went to Brazil that I could get the real facts. This was difficult at first because I could not speak Portuguese, and therefore I had to rely on translations from different investigators, and the details were sketchy. I ran into a few American-speaking Brazilians, and they tried to tell me more details. This raised my curiosity along with several of the other researchers who were present at the conference. What I did finally was go up to Vitório Pacaccini, one of the chief investigators, and asked him a few questions, hoping that he could understand my English. I was surprised to find that he spoke very good English and was quite willing to share many details. I decided at this point to team up with Stanton Friedman from Canada and Graham Birdsall from England, and the three of us would interview him in my hotel room. Finally, we would get the intricate and specific details of this most interesting case in Varginha. Now, before I went to Brazil, I had thought that this must be some kind of jungle hysteria, some kind of story that was spread like a wild rumor through the jungles and the villages. Well, when I realized how industrial and specialized this area was, I soon began to take the whole case much more seriously. I was most impressed with the investigators, and I think you will be too. Join me now in the front line investigation of this case, as you will be there on this first interview, gathering information as we are. After the interview with Vitório Pacaccini, we will look at some photos and drawings to summarize the case. And then, following that, A.J. Javard, the head of the Mutual UFO Network for Brazil and the editor of UFO Magazine in Brazil, will add some additional comments, remarks, and thoughts. I hope you enjoy, as this case unfolds before you, the complexity and the seriousness of the idea that aliens were captured in Brazil.
Yes. My name is Vitório. Where do I look?
Doesn't matter.
Just look at Stanton because you're between the two cameras.
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Vitório Pacaccini. I'm 31 years old. I'm single. I live in Belo Horizonte, which is the capital of the state of Minas Gerais. It's the second state of Brazil. And I belong to this oldest Brazilian investigation group. It's called CICOANI. It means Centro de Investigação Civil de Objetos Aéreos Não Identificados. And I have been working with them for 18 years now. The group was established right after the World War II, so we're talking about a 50 years old group, more or less. It's the oldest in Brazil.
Were there sightings back then in Brazil in 46, 47?
Yes, many. Okay. And the president was, at that time we didn't have the jets in Brazil, so we had the Thunderbolt group. He was one of the pilots, okay, of the Thunderbolt fighters at that time. So he is the president. He started this group at that time. So we have many experiences in the field. We work on the field. We don't do office investigation, okay? We go to the field. I am the ranger. I am the one who goes through the woods. I am the one who says, stay in the car. I go there on the mud, sometimes rainy day, everything. We use walkie-talkies and things like that, compass. So I have a little experience, I should say that. I never met Mr. Ubirajara Rodrigues. which is now my partner on Virginia.
He was on the stage.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now he's back to Virginia.
Oh.
He has to work tomorrow morning.
Okay.
He's a lawyer.
Oh,
So, and let's go straight to the point. So I was in Belo Horizonte. That Sunday, I just bought a newspaper. It was in the beginning of February 1996, some months ago. So I bought the newspaper, Estado de Minas paper. It's the biggest in our state. And I found his picture on a page saying, somebody in Virginia saw this weird creature. Later on, we have this fantastical TV show. It's the biggest audience in Brazil since 1973. And I saw this report in Fantástico show, broadcast by Rede Globo network.
Was Rodriguez in the report?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the first show. And then, right after that, on next day, Monday, I called my friends from our group, Sicoani, and said, did you hear that? Well, maybe we should have this meeting, and then we can establish what we can do to help to get involved with this, because it is in Minas Gerais state. Varginha is about 300 kilometers far from Belo Horizonte. Okay, so we had this meeting in my apartment. It's because I live alone, I don't have any kids, I'm not married. And then, considering that I'm from Três Corações, so I know the south of Minas Gerais, it would be easier for me to take care of this investigation, to go there and find out what was going on. So that's what I did the day after. So I'm talking about Tuesday. I went back to Três Corações where my mom lives. And I live in Belo Horizonte for 19 years now. So I went there, I checked the list, the telephone list, because I didn't know how to find Ubirajara. Didn't know him. So I called him and said, I'm Pacaccini from the Sicoani. He said, oh, somebody from the Sicoani down here. Wow, how good, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I would like to meet you to understand what's going on. He said, okay, how about tomorrow? Okay, tomorrow after lunch. But before going to Três Corações, I called some friends going to Varginha. I called some friends from Belo Horizonte, friends in Três Corações. Três Corações means three hearts. It's the place where Pelé, the famous soccer player, was born. And some friends, I said, could you please check it out for me? Police people, army people, because it's a small town, 60,000 people.
Varginha?
No, Três Corações, my hometown. Okay, so I called some friends and said, could you please check around, stick our noses around there? I'll be there tomorrow, okay? Okay. So I got home, talked to mom, called Ubirajara. We set this meeting for the next day. So I was just there. Suddenly a friend of mine called and said, listen, buddy, as we say in Brazil, the jaguar is going to have some water. Like we say, o jaguar, a onça vai beber água. Jaguar is onça. So at that time, it was possible for me to meet the first military witness.
Already?
Yes, at that time. Easy like this. I was surprised. So we had this secret meeting. And I met this guy, and I recorded him for 42 minutes.
That's the recording, yes.
42 minutes. And then he said that on January the 20th, the fireman department had been involved with the capture of this weird creature down in this place, down in the woods in this place in Virginia. And he told me the whole story, that the creature was kind of dizzy, it was easy to capture, and the whole thing, okay?
So how did the military become involved in the first place? Why did he know?
Oh, we're going to reach that
Okay,
point.
all right.
So, this military, I'm calling the military in general because it can be somebody from the fire department, from the military police we have in Brazil, and from the army. So we are talking about 5,000 people in that area. So it's going to be hard to spot who's the guy who's talking to me, who are the guys, because I talked to 14.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the first one. So he told me everything. The fire department was called because in Brazil, problems with mad dogs, with snakes, sometimes we have some, or bees, or some wasp. something like that. You call the fire department, it's their responsibility. So somebody called the fire department and say, well, we have this weird thing here. It might be a different monkey or something like that. Could you please take care of this situation? So the fire department, Major Maciel, was in charge in Varginha at that time. So he said,
Is this Major Maciel, is he a major in the fire department?
Yeah, but he was the most graduated official there.
High ranking?
High ranking, yes.
Okay.
So he was commanding the fire department at that time. Now he's in Poços de Caldas, another town about 1 hour far from Varginha. So Major said, oh, you guys, 4 of them, you go there and you take care of the situation. So they took this net and gloves and went there to capture this weird monkey. But suddenly, they called from the radio and said, Major, you better come here because we have this bizarre, weird thing, and also the army, the Três Corações army, it's already here with a truck. So Major went there. Isn't it interesting? So we're going to reach to a very interesting point. So Major went there. When he got there, he got to know that these 4 guys went down this incline, this hill, down there, the woods, and captured a very weird thing, like big head, big round eyes, no pupils. The skin looked like somebody has painted with some oil or something like that. It was a little glowing, not really glowing. You know when you have oil?
Shiny like oil.
Yeah, like that. So.
And this, let's be clear, this is the 20th of January.
Yes, we're talking about 10 a.m.
10 a.m., okay.
I haven't met Ubirajara at that point.
And the 20th is a Sunday.
No, it was a Saturday. Okay, I haven't met Ubirajara, not yet, in our story. So, long, thin arms, going down the knees like this, and short, thin legs, big feet.
They have toes?
What?
Do they have toes?
No, at that time, he couldn't get this information at that time.
Okay.
I got this later. And a very strong smell of ammoniac. I don't know how you say it.
Ammonia. Ammonia.
Yes. And
Do you have any clothes on?
No, nothing. Very interesting. It was naked. No sexual organs, nothing like that. And
How tall?
well, it was about in Brazil we
Metric, sure.
yes, the metric
Show us.
Canada too.
it is about 160 centimeters. We say 1 meter and 60 centimeters.
That's 4 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many fingers?
Now, at that time, we didn't have this information because it was really fast operation. They got there, surrounded the creature, and threw the net on the creature, grabbed it, and went up this hill, this inclined thing to go to the street up there. And the creature was alive, and it was producing this sound like a bee, like it was the only thing they could hear at that time.
There was no blood. They didn't image him.
No. But the creature was easy. It was easy to capture. Not.
He wasn't running away.
No, it was a piece of cake. Easy. Okay. So I recorded.
Sorry, can I just? This may be later. As I understand it, yesterday there was talk that some children had been throwing stones at the creature.
Okay, I was just going to this point. Okay, so this inclined place here. So we have this little plateau, as we say in Portuguese here, before going down. Okay, the end of this district, Jardim Andere district, then you go down this hill, the woods, and then you have Santana district. The girls at that time were coming from Jardim Andere district to go to Santana district. So that's how it happened. Okay, but going back. At this place here, before going down to the woods, 6 civilians, and among them 3 kids, were just there throwing rocks on the creature. And this creature was in the middle of this incline place, the hill, before going down to the woods. It was here in the middle. So the kids, I don't know why kids do that sometimes.
This was before the fire officials got there.
Yes, they were there. When the firemen got there, they said, please, could you please
Yes.
step back because we're working here. Uniform, you know, people, yes, I'm sorry. So they put these people away. But we know it was 6 civilians. They threw some rocks on the creature and then it went down the woods. So the firemen went there and captured. Okay, 42 minutes of recording with this guy. So next day I went to Virginia. So, oh, Birajara, glad to meet you. I'm Pacaccini, blah, 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 blah. Could you tell me the story so I can understand what's going on? So he told me that the girls, and then I think you know the story. So the girls were going home from work. They work as a maid. So they were cleaning somebody's house there in Jardim Anderes district. So in order to make this shortcut, because from their district they can go, like Jardim Anderes is here, Santana is here, Santana district, the woods here. So they have to take this route like this, going this way to reach here. So they decided not to do this. They decided to make this shortcut. So they went through this way to reach the road, not the road, the street here. So they saw this creature around here on their way home. Okay? Jardim Anderes.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So what did they see at that time? This creature bending down like this, one hand between the leg, other hand behind here, facing the ground like this.
Like it's trying to hide?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, one of the girls, Liliane, 16 years old girl, she saw that and she screamed, and the creature did like this. Ah, it was enough. They thought it was the devil. Big round eyes, brown skin, dark brown skin, like somebody has put some oil on that.
And the eye color was red, is that right?
The eyes?
Uh-huh.
Big round and red eyes.
So this is now 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yes. So the girls saw this
creature.
Yes, that's the point. But Ubirajara didn't hear from me about the tape I had recorded the day before.
So this is creature number 2.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So.
Or 3 or 4.
Yeah. Okay.
So they saw this creature there. They screamed and they ran away. One more point. We know from this military that the fireman gave the creature, the first creature, to this army troop. It was 3 of them, 2 sergeants and 1 major. Put in this Mercedes-Benz C1418 model, as we say in Brazil, with some camouflage painting on the truck, and that canvas stuff behind where you can put the troops down there. So they put this creature, the first one, they put in this 1 meter, square meter wood box, just with the net and everything, just put the creature in there and cover this with a piece of canvas, a bag, canvas bag. And from outside the truck, you could hear this. And they just took it away to Três Corações town, where we have this army school. It's the biggest in South America. They have this war machine there. I mean, engineers, people, tanks and machine guns and everything. It's a big place. It's just huge. They have all these war things there. So for us, it's very almost impossible to believe that the militaries took it away 10 p.m. in the morning and brought it back to put in that place so the girls could see the creature. Doesn't make any sense.
No, of course
so we're
not.
talking about the second one.
Right.
But Ubirajara didn't know this at that time. So I heard him. He explained everything. He was a little lost, like, you know, getting pieces from a puzzle and couldn't get a link.
Uh-huh.
So I just heard the story. I said, yeah, okay, man. So now let me tell you my story. And at that time, we realized that we were talking about two creatures. Okay, many things happened. Many things happened. Many UFO sightings for over 12 cities around Virginia, about 150 kilometers far from Virginia. Many different Alfenas, Boa Esperança, Três Corações, Fama, Areado.
All on the same day or around that period?
Around
Years
the period.
before, yeah.
Okay, around.
How big a town is Virginia?
They have 180,000.
No.
Okay, so it's a real city. This
It is.
It's not a village. It's
Yes, a very industrial city. They have many multinational companies. They're a very rich city. Okay, fancy people, fancy cars, imported cars.
This is not jungle area.
No way, no way. Minas Gerais state is a very developed state, you know.
So after the girls saw this creature, then what?
Well, so they went home and said, "Mom, we saw the devil. It was just horrible." And their mom said, Mrs. Louisa, she said, "Well, we're a Catholic family. We go to church every week. If the devil is showing up to you, you have to show up to me." So she got a ride with this friend, this neighbor, and went there. When she got there moments later, she didn't see anything, but she could feel this very strong smell of ammonia
Okay.
at that time. And two footprints, you know, because this place is just an empty place where they're going to build some house sometime. So we had this grass, a little grass here and there, and mud.
Yeah.
Okay, so she saw these two footprints.
Unusual, obviously, or she wouldn't have noticed.
What shape? Oh, show us again. Hold that up. Like that.
Like that. I can do this. Mr. Spock can do it better. Like this.
Like V shape.
Yeah. So,
That's different.
well, so we had many UFO sites. Virginia was just going insane. Everybody, every night, every single night, people on the street. I'm talking about hundreds of people going on the streets, seeing objects, filming. We have the films.
How did the media in Virginia, the newspapers, radio, television, how were they treating the subject?
Well, they're just on our side.
Oh, okay. This was not a ridicule situation.
No way, no way.
That's good, because that set the stage then for them to give fair coverage to whatever.
Yes, they just we're working together.
Great. Okay.
So
Okay.
we just blew the story in this country at that time. So many witnesses having their cars followed by strange luminous object. Some of them going from left to right and vice versa. Some of them stopping in front of the cars. Some of them following the cars like close range, like this. The car going and the object going above the car like this. A doctor has passed through this experience. Doctors, people, businessmen, many different people. We talk about 65, 67 different witnesses.
All within a short period of time.
Yes.
A
yes.
short distance.
But the point is, this thing is still happening. It didn't stop, not yet. Okay.
So now we got two bodies. One has been captured.
Wait a minute. We're jumping
Okay.
We
ahead.
got to the mum and the girls at the site.
That's right.
She's seen the footprints.
Okay, go ahead.
Got a strong smell of ammonia.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, many UFO sightings. Well, one day I had this call from a man saying, "I would like to report a sighting. Could you meet in this place downtown in Três Corações?" I said, "Okay." So I went to this place to meet this guy that I didn't know. I just parked the car. A friend of mine, when I was young, saw me parking the car, crossed the street and said, "God sent you here. I need to talk to you." I said, "Why?" "Because I know a military who wants to talk to you." He was afraid, but now he knows that this is really serious and he wants to talk. And also they said, he's my friend, because I was in television at that time. I was in the newspapers, magazines, because we blew the story to the rest of the country. So we set this secret meeting, a different one. I'm talking about the second one.
Right.
So he said that this convoy on January the 22nd came from Três Corações to Virginia, 3 trucks First one was driven by soldier Cirilo. Second one by Corporal Vassalo. Third one by soldier De Mello. They went to Virginia and they followed this Volkswagen Bug, a yellow one, with a lieutenant from the Secret Service of the Army Secret Service. So this guy called each one of them to go with him, following him, downtown Virginia, going to many different places, stopping at Humanitas Hospital. They do many kinds of surgeries there. It's a very nice hospital. And Humanitas Hospital, it's in a place almost going out Virginia. So it's nearly
suburban, or?
Yes, it's almost suburban area. From there, you can go to the main road to go to Três Corações like this. You don't have to go downtown. You have a specific street where you go, and then you reach the road, the main road. So they went there, each one of them. So what happened? They saw more than 15 doctors in the backyard. Okay, they made the maneuvers.
At the hospital?
At the hospital. They made the maneuvers, and they went reverse, if I'm making myself clear.
Backed up.
Back up, through this big gate, and stopped the truck. 15 or more than 15 different doctors.
Were these doctors, or were these doctors, and they could have been doctors and nurses?
No, no.
These were all doctors?
Yes, because we checked that thing later.
So this hospital, that's a lot of doctors for one hospital?
Yes. But the point is, in the backyard, they saw fireman vehicle, military police vehicle, many people with uniforms from the fireman department, many people from the military police with specific uniform. These guys that looking like doctors with, how do you call that thing? We say stethoscope.
Stethoscope.
The heart. With stethoscopes hanging around their necks, with that white uniform, that thing here, and that mask. And the smell was just terrible, burning the noses because it was so awful.
They were all wearing masks?
Yes. And tell me, you guys, what smell we're talking about?
Ammonia.
Yeah. So, what they saw, this military that I taught, what he knew about this. I don't want to say that he was involved, because if you tell this to the press, the guy goes to the jail.
No.
He was involved in this operation, okay?
Yeah.
That's part of this operation. So he saw this wood box with this creature lying on, okay? Half of the box, because the other half was inside a place there. Oh, they had this tripods, you know, like this, on the ground, with this wood box laying over.
Like a trestle stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So they saw this creature there, and how it looked like somebody who has painted with oil, big, round, ugly eyes, 3 things on the head, because the girl saw these 3 different things on the head. Maybe there are bumps or something like that. I don't know how you call that.
We don't either. But...
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so 3 fingers. 3 fingers.
Short?
Yeah, no, kind of long. 3.
No thumb?
No thumb.
Okay.
3. And the creature was lying like this, with the legs a little bit like this. So he could see the feet, I mean, like this.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the box was too short for the creature to lay flat?
Excuse me?
No, it was flat. Oh, you mean the creature was bigger than the box a little bit?
Yes, it was only half of the box. The other half that would be covering this one wasn't there yet.
But was it on a diagonal, the creature, for example? Or I'm just trying to get a handle on size.
Okay, just to give it an idea. It was like this. Okay? Like the box here, supporting by this 2 tripod thing. And the creature was like here. Understand?
Yeah.
So they needed the other half to covered and locked.
The lid.
Yes, but
lid.
the other half wasn't there yet. Was inside the hospital.
Okay.
Okay.
Was this creature alive?
No, it was dead. It was dead.
Could you tell how it was dead?
Well, because it didn't move, and also a doctor came over here with this, how do you call that thing?
Scalpel, the sharp knife?
No. Do you have a pencil? May I borrow this pencil? You know that thing like this that doctors use to get cotton on something?
Forceps, yeah.
Forceps. Okay. He came here, opened this little, it wasn't a mouth, it was a slit. Oh, just a slit. Opened this and grabbed the tongue and just pulled out the mouth like this. It was black, like a ribbon. Black and thin like a ribbon.
Why did he do that, do you think?
I don't know. He was examining or something like that. So many people in the backyard. There was this guy, this lieutenant, we call S2. It means he belongs to the Army Secret Service.
Yeah, that's intelligence in the U.S.
Okay. He was filming the whole thing, this guy, with this JVC camera.
So he filmed the doctor pulling the tongue out.
Everything. It was black. And then he just released the tongue and it went straight back to the mouth, into the mouth. It was...
Did it look like a snake's tongue, like forked or...
No, he couldn't see that. He just saw it was black and thin like a ribbon.
Okay.
Like a frog catches bugs.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
More details. The knees and this part of the legs were wounded. I also asked, it was a shot, it was a knife, or it was a hit or something. No, like you have scratched.
Yeah.
Abrasions, yeah.
Yes, here in the knees and all over here.
Okay.
Both of the legs. So.
No sexual organs?
No, he was naked.
Okay.
No nipples?
No nipples. Nothing.
Belly button?
No belly button. And the head was big and bigger than ours.
Okay.
Big head, like this, with these 3 bumps or horns or things here. So.
They seem to have bones.
I don't know. They seem to be very
knees,
soft
though,
creatures.
but, so there was a joint here.
He has a joint.
Is there an elbow?
You couldn't see because the creature was this way.
Okay.
And the legs were this way. So it was really, how do you say when the skin is like this?
Wrinkled?
Wrinkled here. Very wrinkled here on the knees.
Okay.
So they covered up, locked it, and went to Tres Corazones, to the Army school. Well, it was in January the 22nd. The 23rd, they went to Campinas, the same convoy. We had this operation controlled by Lieutenant Colonel Olimpio Vanderlei. He was there in the hospital. Colonel Olimpio Vanderlei was there. He was in charge of this operation. Also, Lieutenant Tiberio was involved, Captain Ramirez, and Sergeant Pedrosa. Sergeant Pedrosa went to Campinas with this convoy.
How far?
4 hours.
Ooh.
Campinas is in São Paulo state.
Oh, okay, so down.
Okay? Because Campinas, we have Unicamp University. It's a very advanced place. We have high technology there, many things. So we know because the guy who was involved in this operation went to Campinas in this convoy. That's why we know. Okay? But please don't talk about this. We put the guy in jail.
Yeah.
So they went to Campinas. In Campinas, they just stopped the trucks, the convoy, in another military facility they have there. And
this is with the alien that they're taken from the hospital.
Yes.
Or the creature.
Well, by now we're talking about 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point is, then we will go back to Campinas later. My brother Eduardo, 11 months older than me, he's now a doctor. He's got his PhD degree in Campinas. So we know about Campinas and many other things there because of him. Okay? But then we had many calls, many people, many clues, people calling, people talking. And then a lawyer came up and said, I need to make this statement to you. I was so afraid, you know, because of the militaries, these people, they're not easy. But now I'm seeing that you have been working really hard. I want to tell you something. At that time, he couldn't be specific about the date. But he said, at that time, many people, I was talking about Jardim Daddy district and Santana district here, the woods here, where the creature was captured, 10 a.m. by the firemen. He lives here in Santana, and from Santana, he saw on the street here, for many days, army trucks riding around. And he was so curious that one of those days, he went up there at lunchtime to see what was going on. From here, I mean that plateau place before going down the hill to the woods, he saw 7 army people with that camouflage uniform holding rifles. We have this fall rifle in Brazil, 7.62 millimeters. You people from England use that kind of caliber in Falklands War. It's the same one.
Right.
So that's the caliber, the official caliber
It's
of
the self-loading rifle, SLR.
So he saw the 7 guys online going, because we have this woods here, okay? But here is pasture. You have some cattle here. It's a kind of a flat place here. So they came from here, from the right to the left, into the woods, online, like this, like they were sweeping something, you know what I mean? Going this way. Okay, this lawyer from up here saw this group going inside. So a few moments later, he heard 3 shots, rifle shots. Bah, bah. And then, some moments later, he saw the same group coming out from the woods with 2 bags. One of the bags, canvas bag, they use for camping. One of the bags, something was moving inside. The other one, nothing was moving. Many people from Santana district saw these guys here too. I'm talking about 11 witnesses who saw from Santana. He was up here before going down the hill.
Was he in a car or just walking?
No, he stopped the car and went out to see what was going on. Why that army truck was riding around there for some days at that time. So he was curious. He went there. He didn't know anything. So then we have this question.
What date was this?
That's the point. He wasn't specific. He said it was around that time. But we know it's specific because he couldn't remember. We talked to the witness here.
Well, you mentioned that there were 11 other witnesses. Surely one of those must have known the date.
No, yes, but that's what we asked. They couldn't be specific either.
But
so they say
we're talking about either the 20th or
yes,
the 21st.
Yes, we're talking about maybe
that weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday.
No, probably we are talking about days before the 20th. Probably, as we understood at that time. We're talking about the 18th or the 19th or something like that. Or maybe the 20th. But they saw at that, when I say at that time, because the TV shows were showing the programs and reporting January the 20th. So people talk about that time, it's January the 20th. They couldn't be specific. But then one point is very interesting. What happened? Why these military people with this camouflage uniform going inside the woods, heard the shots, coming out with these things, with this bags? What happened? We didn't know at that time. Okay, but are we talking about 2 more creatures? We didn't know at that time. But let's go back to the very beginning. So we have here the street. The end of the street is the end of Jardim Daddy district. Then you go down the hill and the woods are down here. 3 blocks. The girls saw the creature here. It was 3:30 p.m. The fireman has captured, it was January the 20th. Okay? The fireman has captured the first one, January the 20th, 10:30 a.m. So, isn't it strange? What the hell is this creature doing here? it doesn't make any sense, because intelligent people coming from space with spacecraft or things like that, being here just to be captured, like,
with no clothes, no tools, I take it, no objects.
nothing.
And dizzy.
Yeah, and defenseless. I mean, see, why this thing, what doing here? For what?
Where's the woods that
here.
they swept and shot? Okay, that's down there.
They came from here into the woods.
And what time of day was that?
It was lunchtime.
Okay.
Okay, so since the first one was given directly to the army truck at that time, and we know the people involved, we know the names, we know everything. And this one here was the one that the girl saw. Probably
the one that got away.
Yes, probably this is the one who went to the hospital. Probably this is the one that this army convoy took from the hospital, probably. Why? Because we know from the military police witness.
Now, how to get to the hospital?
Well, I'm going to tell, because I
Okay.
met this other friend who said, God sent you here. I want to introduce you to a military who wants to talk to you.
Okay.
This guy told me. And then we know that the second one was captured at January the 20th around 11 p.m. by the military police and the firemen. But at that time, they took their own cars, not official vehicles, own cars, regular clothing, went there, surrounded the area, and captured the one.
So the girls have seen this, the mother's gone back because we broke off from
Yeah, but this is all grass here, high grass, like this. Probably
They smelled the strong smell of ammonia, but they never saw the creature again.
the mother's, the girl's mother,
Yes.
we're talking here.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay?
So she saw the creature and the creature ran off?
No, the girl saw the creature. The mother didn't see anything.
But she saw footprints and
And that's
smell.
where we left it.
Smell.
So that creature was still at large. You're now saying that that creature was later captured around 11 p.m. on the night of the 20th of January.
Yes.
Because the fire crews came back in their own vehicles. Was this out of kindness, or was it curiosity, or had they been sent back there?
Well, because probably somebody called them. In Brazil, in the United States, it's 9/11. In Brazil, it's 190. You call the police.
Yeah.
Okay? So probably somebody had called the police or the firemen at that time. The fact is, these guys went there, and then we go to this very important thing. One of the guys somehow got involved with the creature. He went there, the policeman, this one here wasn't so easy to be captured. So the guys surrounded the creature, just, ran away. They go there again, surrounded the creature again. A little difficult to be captured. But somehow, this guy, one of the policemen, got involved with the creature. This guy died 2 days later. How come?
What? This policeman's death, I mean, presumably this has all been recorded. That there must be
records
of this.
Yeah, no, because they are covering this whole story.
Well, this man must have a family. He must have relatives.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you. So, they took this guy to the regional hospital, the biggest one, not the most important one, but it's the biggest one downtown. They made this. How do you say? Somebody dies, you have to have a report.
death certificate.
Oh?
A death certificate?
Yes, saying that it was pneumonia. The family asked for an autopsy. They said, no way, go home. Very simple people, military people, humble people. They go there and say, well, what happened to my son? Well, it was pneumonia, and that's it. We know where they buried the body. We know the family. We talked to the family. They want to go
That's
to the...
human.
Yes.
Can this be done?
What?
Can it be done?
Yes, it can. Well, we want to take them in front of the cameras. We're going to do this as soon as we can. Okay, then we have one guy dead. Was it because of some bacteria, some virus? We didn't know at that time. The fact that is that one policeman died in this operation, okay? Well, I don't know if you remember, but I was saying that in January the 19th, this guy in this farm, 20 kilometers far from Virginia, saw this strange object that he thought it could be a submarine flying over the field. It was 19. What did he say? He said, no lights, no smell, no sound, but he has some mist or fog around. We thought that that could be camouflage because in south of Minas Gerais it's cold, and probably he was using some camouflage, you know, like putting some fog around the ship or something like that. Okay. Some days later, we had this call from an Air Force officer saying that...
Brazilian?
Yes, saying that the Brazilian raiders had tracked many UFOs during that time, and they are still tracking these UFOs. And then we go straight to the point that I want. Somehow, the Americans, the United States government, told the Brazilian militaries about these UFOs coming to our country. And because it was so funny, how come the army people were so ready to do this whole operation, to cover it up?
How do you know the Americans were involved?
Because this guy from the Brazilian Air Force,
Who is this guy from the...
I can't tell you the name.
Somebody who's contacted you?
Yes, he spontaneously. He called because he said, I can't let it go this way. I can't keep my mouth shut. It was the Americans. They told the Brazilians, they tracked these UFOs coming into our planet. They told the Brazilian army. And what did they say? They said, we're tracking some object. Oh, we had two options. It landed or it crashed. Because it didn't rise again.
Right.
So the point is, we have now a military person from the Army school who saw the wreckage. We're talking about a UFO who crashed. Now we can understand a little bit of this. Mr. Friedman was talking about the Roswell case. Maybe we have this little Roswell case down in Virginia. Now things are making sense because what is this creature doing here? When the girl saw it, probably it was defending its life because the military was shooting some of its friends down here in the woods. Because it doesn't make any sense. How come? Doing here what? And what these creatures were doing in the woods, probably because their spacecraft crashed around here. Probably it's this one that this farmer saw flying over the field in January the 19th.
How far away is it?
10 kilometers. And if you go straight, it's about 1.5 or 2 kilometers. So probably this fog that we thought could be camouflage was something going wrong, some tilt, something going wrong with the spacecraft. It wasn't a big one. It was like a microbus, as we say in Brazil. And it had this shape, like this. Why he thought it was a submarine? Because it was long like this, with this little dome here, something like this. Like this.
Yeah.
Probably this thing was out of order. Something was going wrong, and this fog around here wasn't camouflage. So in the Roswell case, as you know, Mr. Friedman,
this little submarine.
Yes, 5 meters.
5 meters.
5 meters on the field. So what it seems is that thing probably was not surveying the area to drop these creatures. We thought at the very beginning, probably this spacecraft was having some problem. Something was going wrong, and this thing crashed. Probably it didn't break in many pieces. In some pieces, the fact is
Split
that
open, maybe.
yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
but we still have another question here.
yes.
We have a few.
Nothing I've heard so far would lead me to believe that these creatures were other than primitive. Is that a good word, I think? I mean, no clothes, no tools, disoriented. It's hard to believe that they were pilots, if you will, as opposed to cargo or robotic assistants or
Yeah.
whatever. So there's another, we don't know if there was a crash or
Now,
No,
okay.
no one reported wreckage.
no.
Okay.
Because it was so fast. Why it was so fast? The operation. Because the militaries were waiting for something. They were prepared for something. So that's why it was so fast. Because for us, it was.
How about radar in the area?
We don't have any.
No military radar?
No.
What about this military school?
Yeah, they don't have it.
Well, what
It's
about
the army school. They don't have anything related.
No
to
air bases?
what about
No.
the local airport?
No.
But it's 180.
The local airport is a tiny one.
It's like a. What do you call
It's
it?
just a,
like a
just a place on the ground where you land an aircraft. It doesn't have any radar. But we know the guy who saw the wreckage in a truck.
Oh, in the
Pieces
truck.
of a strange metal, something silver or something really strange.
Okay, so we do have somebody seeing some wreckage.
Oh yes, not a civil witness, but a military one.
Okay.
This military one called his friend someplace else to say, because it's a very close friend, he said, you won't believe this, I just saw this convoy coming back to the army school, and one of the trucks was carrying this pieces of metal, this silver weird metal.
Okay.
I couldn't see any wiring, anything like that. It was just weird.
No, there is no wiring.
Something like that. And then we know who this guy is. I sent him a message that I want to talk, and he said he's too afraid that I have to wait till the smoke gets down, you know? Too much fire now. So,
Did this Brazilian Air Force pilot, who presumably you've spoken to two of these people, you've spoken to this friend of the man who claims to have seen the wreckage. So you've not spoken to this man physically yourself.
not yet.
Have you spoken with this Brazilian Air Force pilot?
He called us. We have
You've
this,
not met him.
Which
no,
Brazilian?
I'm going to meet him.
There is a Brazilian Air Force pilot who he said earlier
Yes.
had contacted them to say that I must talk with you. Because the United States had contacted us in Brazil to say you have an object coming in and it's either going to land or it's crashed.
So that sounds like the space network.
Now, have you spoke with this Air Force pilot?
Through the telephone.
Do you know who he is?
Yes.
So he's given you his name, you know where he's
Everything. And also, he, if you can keep it in secret, okay? He works in Belo Horizonte's airport, the biggest one in Minas Gerais. He operates the radar. He himself saw many UFOs on the radar. And he knows people from the Brazilian Air Force in Brasilia who told him that the government was covering up the whole thing. This UFOs flying around the Brazilian space. So when his friend from Três Corações called him to say, you won't believe, I saw this truck with this weird pieces of metal thing. And then he realized that really what he heard from his friend in Brasilia was true. The the spacecraft really crashed, and he's afraid about some diplomatic problem because the Brazilian Air Force is not knowing about this because they talk directly to the Army people, not to the Air Force people. So he's now afraid.
If it's on the ground, it's the Army's.
It's
not the
Army
Air
problem.
Force.
That's it. And also, they were so lucky because the Army school, it's 20 minutes far by car from Virginia. So we have this very big facility in Três Corações. So it was piece of cake. They go, you better take care because some spacecraft have crashed in this latitude, longitude, you go there and check it out. So it was easy because, you know, let me tell you, I'm a patriot, but let me tell you, the Brazilian militaries are so dumb. It's hard to it was hard to understand for me and my partner Birajara, how come they were so prepared? How come they could do, most of them can hardly sign their names.
Well, there is something else that you have to recognize. The United States is very anxious to get a hold of any re-entering Soviet or other spy satellite or anything else. And one of the reasons for the space network from above looking down is to see where these things are coming in, and then to alert somebody with a quick recovery team, because they're desperate to get a hold of this technology and the cameras and the film and, you know, everything else. So it's not just if a flying saucer comes down. That's just one of many things. There's plenty of junk up there with which they would pay very well to you give it to us. And I guess in Brazil.
No, it's many places down in south of Minas Gerais. I'm talking about 12 different cities. This one specific, this one. So, but on April 21st, this lady, Terezinha Klepp, was in this restaurant surrounded by woods. So she felt like smoking. She went to the porch because she didn't want to disturb the people there with the smoke.
April the 21st?
Yes, April the 21st. So all of a sudden she was there just smoking, having a cigarette.
And where is this?
In Virginia. In a restaurant, surrounded by woods. And you can see, you can even spot the spiders around the bamboos and trees. It's really a beautiful place. And then she went to the porch to have the cigarette. All of a sudden, she was just there, sitting there, smoking. This creature, about 5 meters far from her, just appeared. Look at her. It was 9 o'clock on a Sunday.
Morning, night.
Night. And the place has no lights, only in the restaurant. So the woods were dark. The place was dark. And she was there. What did she see? She saw this brown, big head with this big, round, red, devilish eyes or something like that, really ugly, a slit. But how come if it was dark and the light in the porch wasn't enough? All she could see was because some light was coming from the eyes, not like a flashlight, but, you know, surround. So she could see it was black, dark brown skin, looking like somebody has put in some oil. Okay? Just a slit in the place of the mouth, and this big red eyes, but some light was coming, and from this light, from the eyes, she could see the color brown around here. Okay? It was April the 21st, 9 o'clock.
How big?
She said, because we have this, you know when you have a porch and you have a place, or we have this thing, a fence, not a fence.
Yeah, a railing.
Yes, it was above. And this, you say railing?
Railing, a rail.
Was this tall. And the creature was here. So we're talking about 1 meter 60 or 65, 1 meter and 65.
So to all intents and purposes,
4 feet.
A similar creature. But by now, of course, this woman has obviously seen television, newspaper reports. She's had descriptions of.
It's 4 months later.
That's why she called us to say that she was at that time.
3 months. Yeah,
she's,
3 months.
She's 67. She doesn't watch TV as much,
Right.
And she's Catholic. For her, she saw the devil. So now she can't sleep. She won't go.
Did she call anybody? Did it leave?
She talked to the family. It took 1 week for them to realize that that thing was so important, and they heard some rumors about a creature this girl saw seeing this creature. So they decided after 1 week to call us to say what happened. And she was shaking like this, smoking, you know, she was really scared about it. She can't sleep. Okay, but then on May the 15th, this guy, Ildo, 20 years old, It was coming from Três Corações to Varginha. It's the road I use every day. I go and go back to Três Corações, go to Varginha and go back to Três Corações every day. So it was going to a curve, and after that curve, we have the road going straight up. He was in a van we call Vesta by Asia Motors. It's Korean.
Yeah.
The Vesta. That one that we just came
Yes,
to. That
I
one.
was going to say.
That one. He was 100. He was riding about 100 kilometers per hour. So just made the curve, and then he saw May 15th. He saw this creature about to cross the road. It was like this, coming from that place you park on the road. How do you call that place? Parking place. Yes. Here, some woods here, some grass, high grass here. It was about to cross the road. He made the curve and he saw the creature about 50 meters far from the car. And at that time, he saw that thing. He said, well, it's a monkey. I'm going to hit a monkey or something. So he was riding with low beam. So he clicked to high beam. And at that time, that creature did like this. Looked at him. What did he see? He saw this red, big, strange eyes. And this brown, strange thing like some oil was on it. And something on the head, because the creature did like this. And then put the hands on the face so he could see here, because the van was coming from that way. So he was intelligent. He did like this. Covered the face, turned around, and got inside the grass, the high grass. But this place specifically is right in front of the farmer house who saw this strange object on January the 19th. It's just amazing. It's right in front of, if you go down the same field that the object was flying here, the road I'm talking about is right here, above there, up there. And the creature was coming from this pasture, from this place here, in order to cross to the other side of the road. The guy got so, I said, why didn't you stop? So how come I was alone? But you were in the car. Well, I didn't know if that creature was alone too. So he just went away.
He did not hit him.
No, because the creature just turned around, put the hands, thin, long arms. He could see this, like this, and went back to the high grass. So he didn't hit it, and he went away. He was so scared about it. Okay, so probably something is still going on. Are they looking for their friends? I don't know.
Could be a bus, a cargo load of strange animals that, you know, it happens in the States every once in a while. A vehicle will crash, zoo animals, things like that. Mm-hmm. And for weeks they're trying to recapture the animals that get away, mm-hmm. which are not native to the area, mm-hmm. and we're being hauled for who knows what purpose. But what I'm getting at here is I'm still thinking here. Something maybe crashed from outer space, wreckage, the whole thing. We have the beings, creatures that don't belong there. Nobody's ever reported hunting in the woods and look what I saw kind of thing. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, we don't have sophistication on the animals, the mm-hmm. creatures. So that suggests a lower order. So if you were taking a plane load, a saucer load of strange creatures, either to or from, or hybrids of some kind, or breeding stock for chemicals, or who knows what.
Yeah.
It sounds like there were a bunch of them.
Yes.
Have
you counted? We're talking about 5 or 6, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to think about all of them.
Yes.
If one could stay there for as long as from January to May. Now, no sexual organs, doesn't sound like they reproduce themselves. It sounds like clones or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, John, isn't it true that on occasion people act as if the beings on board the craft, they're the guys who do the dirty work, they're the smarter guys and smarter than them?
Right.
So
right.
These things may not answer. What I'm saying is, we have other possibilities than that these are the guys who fly saucers.
That's it. For us, they're so rude. As we say in Portuguese, são tão rudes. They're so rude, so
crude.
Yes, so crude. Are they able to to manage spacecraft, something like that. Maybe something genetic manipulated for some specific mission on the ground. So the smart guys are just flying over, not running the risks.
Yeah.
But maybe something went wrong. Maybe our logic cannot be used on the case.
Accidents happen.
Accidents happen.
For the craziest reasons.
Yeah, perfect, only God. God is perfect.
I have a question, completely separate.
Separate case.
So where does it stand now? Have the military told people to shut up? The firemen, all?
Yes. Well, if somebody pronounces my name in the Army school, it's 10 days in jail now.
Wow.
So we have many threats. I had 2 in my mom's house in Três Corações, 2 in Ubirajara's house, 4 in my apartment in Belo Horizonte.
Telling you to shut up?
No, I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna. And also, somebody from the Army school told me I have talked to 14 different militaries. I have recorded every one of them.
With their knowledge, or?
Everyone, yes.
And you still have those tapes, right?
Sure.
Good.
I hope you've duplicated them and sent another set
More
to
than
your
that.
lawyer.
More than that. So, if they die, if a comet hit them, no problem. I have it already in my hand.
Where does John Mack fit into this?
Okay, so Bob Pratt was coming to Brazil with Cynthia Newby-Luce. It's
Yes, he
somebody
told me
from
about her.
Buffon is living
Yeah.
here. So
She's gone on many investigations.
Yes, so she went to Virginia, and I told them everything, but it was at that time. So what they could know at that time was half of the story, because it was in March.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting new information day by day.
Yeah.
So, Doutora Gilda Moura from Rio de Janeiro, who is a colleague.
Yeah, I know her.
He knows her.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. John Mack.
Right.
She was at a conference at MIT that he was at. As
Right.
well as
That's it. So she was so anxious to go to Virginia to get to know about the case. And Professor was invited to be in Brazil. I don't know specifically why. He was doing some investigation, probably.
Oh, okay.
So Doutora Gilda took him there. So we put the girls and Dona Terezinha Klepp with him. He had this, when you go to a doctor's place to have this, how do you say?
Surgery, counseling.
Counseling, that's it. For over 2 hours, Dona Terezinha separately from the girls. So he had this conversation, asking many questions alone. I was just translating, okay?
Oh, okay. So who was the translator?
Yeah. I didn't interrupt, I didn't say anything. So after that, he said, I can answer to any judge or before the justice of this country, and also I bet my, we say cátedra in Portuguese.
Diploma?
My diploma, my Harvard diploma, and my Harvard work, because he's a teacher there.
Right.
That Dona Terezinha and the girls are telling the truth. The truth. So, after that, if somebody asks me what I'm thinking about the girls, I say, don't ask me, you go to Harvard. Ask to a PhD guy there. Okay?
She didn't talk to the girls, or did she?
No.
Dr. Amore?
Never.
Okay.
So, many things. So people in Army school in Três Corações, the military, one of the guys that I have talked to, said that Coronel Olímpio Vanderlei has said that I'm going too far with this. That I'm, as we say in Brazil, that I'm putting some shit on the fans. And maybe,
We say that in the States.
Yeah.
maybe it's time to shut me up. Okay? So we had this thread by telephone. I'm wearing, you don't have to mention this, but I'm wearing, not now, not here, but I'm wearing this bulletproof vest. And of
Where
course,
does the press fit in? Have any of the newspapers made an all-out effort to dig into this? Or?
They are on our side.
Well,
We go to the press almost every week. Papers, television, different shows, different networks.
I should mention something else. You bring up Roswell, but as I'm sure you're aware, Leonard Stringfield collected more than 50 reports of crash saucers. He didn't investigate them, their stories. We have a new document. I showed one page of it, that suggests that there was an operations manual for dealing with the recovery, handling, shipping of wreckage, bodies, etc. You don't do that manual if nothing has happened since 1947. What you have said makes it sound like somebody was prepared to deal with something coming down. So it may well be that rather than a link to Roswell, there's a link to 40 other cases
You're
in
right.
which craft have come
I just
down.
mentioned Roswell because you
That's
have
the
your
best
conference.
known, yes. Yeah.
But also, I'm telling you, the militaries in Tres Corazones, I know most of them down there, they're, as you say in the United States, they're dumb as a donut. So they of course they're not ready to work with such a thing like that. They were prepared previously by somebody else. How come so fast? And now we can understand what this creature was doing here, probably struggling for its own life.
No helicopters circling the area?
2 jet fighters. 2 jet fighters before. This guy, this lawyer who saw the militaries with the rifles and heard the shots, saw 2. We call F5. But
That's unusual for them to be...
no, they don't fly there. Never. So probably this creature here was just trying to save its life.
Yeah.
Probably the army people down here started this whole thing, you know, like shooting everything around, and the creatures just spreading around, like you say when the ship is going down in the middle of the ocean, it's sinking. You say, God, may God help every one of us, so each one take care.
Yeah.
You know, so probably this happened. Now we know from the guy, he controls the Belo Horizonte's radar, the radar from the Belo Horizonte's airport, that the UFOs were flying around here. We know this guy. I know who he is. I'm just preparing him to talk to me, okay? His wife, this guy, said, no, he's going to destroy our lives. He said, no. He has talked to many people. I know. He has talked to many people inside the army school. Didn't mention any name. So I'm preparing. The guy saw the wreckage. So we have the couple, wife and husband, who saw on January the 19th this thing like this flying over the field. We have many witnesses who had met these weird creatures. So probably we're thinking that at first, at the very beginning, that they were surveying the area to drop some creatures for some mission. Now we're understanding that they had some problem and crashed. And these creatures are now in this God's world trying to survive. My brother, then we go to my brother. Okay, my brother said, and he was positive because he knows, the professor who was following him in his PhD,
His advisor.
as advisor, knows personally Dr. Badam Palhares, and he told my brother, and he's home, he didn't talk through the telephone, he said, I need to talk to you personally. He went there and said, Dr. Badam Palhares had made this necropsy, I don't know how you say it. Autopsy. But he cannot do it alone because he needs some expert, DNA expert and many others. So they had involved many people, not only from Unicamp University, but from many other cities around, using many other facilities, because we had mentioned Unicamp and people now is watching Unicamp. So probably they took it away from there.
But for most testing, you'd only need small samples.
Yes, but how many of them? They moved to Unicamp and from Unicamp to other places. We're now talking about 5 or 6 creatures, I don't know. Some of them are still alive, walking on the grounds around there, as Hildo saw on May 15th, as Dona Terezinha saw on April 21st. Okay? Lunchtime? That suit, or something like that.
Well, even without it, they don't have
Maybe they have
sexual
this
organs.
brown oil suit by some reason, and then you cannot identify.
Well, I'm asking questions only because I hadn't heard it asked before.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
question that was obvious if they're naked.
I've got,
And with the girls and stuff,
I've got
what
about,
did they see?
I've got about, actually, losing the battery is not too bad a thing.
In Fantástico show, broadcast by Rede Globo Network,
Was Rodriguez in the report?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the first show. And then, right after that, on next day, Monday, I called up my friends from our group, Sikoani, and said, did you hear that? Well, maybe we should have this meeting, and then we can establish what we can do to help to get involved with this, because it is in Minas Gerais state. Varginha is about 300 kilometers far from Belo Horizonte. Okay, so we had this meeting in my apartment. It's because I live alone, I don't have any kids, I'm not married. And then, considering that I'm from Três Corações, so I know the south of Minas Gerais, it would be easier for me to take care of this investigation, to go there and find out what was going on. So that's what I did the day after. So I'm talking about Tuesday. I went back to Três Corações where my mom lives. And I live in Belo Horizonte for 19 years now. So I went there, I checked the list, the telephone list, because I didn't know how to find Ubirajara. Didn't know him. So I called him and said, I'm Pacaccini from the Sikoani. Oh, somebody from the Sikoani down here. Wow, how good, blah, 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 blah. And I said, I would like to meet you to understand what's going on. He said, okay, how about tomorrow? Okay, tomorrow after lunch. But before going to Três Corações, I called some friends going to Varginha. I called some friends from Belo Horizonte, friends in Três Corações. Três Corações means three hearts. It's the place where Pelé, the famous soccer player, was born. And some friends, I said, could you please check it out for me? Talking about a 50 years old group, more or less. It's the oldest in Brazil.
Were there sightings back then in Brazil, in 46, 47?
Yes, many. Okay. And the president was, at that time we didn't have the jets in Brazil, so we had the Thunderbolt group. He was one of the pilots, okay, of the Thunderbolt fighters at that time. So he is the president. He started this group at that time. So we have many experiences in the field. We work on the field. We don't do office investigation. Okay, we go to the field. I am the ranger. I am the one who goes through the woods. I am the one who says, stay in the car. I go there on the mud, sometimes rainy day, everything. We use walkie-talkies and things like that, compass. So I have a little experience, I should say that. I never met Mr. Ubirajara Rodrigues, which is now my partner on Varginha.
He was on the stage.
Yes, yeah. Yes. Now he's back to Varginha.
Oh.
He has to work tomorrow morning.
Okay.
He's a lawyer.
Oh,
so, and let's go straight to the point. So I was in Belo Horizonte. At that Sunday, I just bought a newspaper. It was in the beginning of February, 1996, some months ago. So I bought the newspaper, Estado de Minas paper. It's the biggest in our state. And I found his picture on a page saying, somebody in Varginha saw this weird creature. Later on, we have this Fantástico TV show. It's the biggest audience in Brazil since 1973. And I saw this report.
Hi, I'm John Carpenter, psychiatric therapist and UFO researcher. Recently, I just got back from Brazil, South America, where I had given a presentation on alien abductions at an international conference in Curitiba. Curitiba is in the southern part of Brazil, which is more industrial and European in nature. I was much surprised at this. This is also the area where the case in Varginha is located. Before I went to Brazil, I had heard rumors about a saucer crash and the military capturing live beings. This was very mysterious, and so I figured by the time I went to Brazil that I could get the real facts. This was difficult at first because I could not speak Portuguese, and therefore I had to rely on translations from different investigators, and the details were sketchy. I ran into a few American-speaking Brazilians, and they tried to tell me more details. This raised my curiosity along with several of the other researchers who were present at the conference. What I did finally was go up to Vitório Pacaccini, one of the chief investigators, and asked him a few questions, hoping that he could understand my English. I was surprised to find that he spoke very good English and was quite willing to share many details. I decided at this point to team up with Stanton Friedman from Canada and Graham Birdsall from England, and the three of us would interview him in my hotel room. Finally, we would get the intricate and specific details of this most interesting case in Virginia. Now, before I went to Brazil, I had thought that this must be some kind of jungle hysteria, some kind of story that was spread like a wild rumor through the jungles and the villages. Well, when I realized how industrial and specialized this area was, I soon began to take the whole case much more seriously. I was most impressed with the investigators, and I think you will be too. Join me now in the front line investigation of this case, as you will be there on this first interview, gathering information as we are. After the interview with Vitório Pacaccini, we will look at some photos and drawings to summarize the case. And then, following that, A.J. Javard, the head of the Mutual UFO Network for Brazil, and the editor of UFO Magazine in Brazil, will add some additional comments, remarks, and thoughts. I hope you enjoy, as this case unfolds before you, the complexity and the seriousness of the idea that aliens were captured in Brazil.
Yes. My name is Vitório. Where do I look?
Doesn't matter.
Just look at Stanton because you're between the two cameras.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Vitório Pacaccini. I'm 31 years old. I'm single. I live in Belo Horizonte, which is the capital of the state of Minas Gerais. It's the second state of Brazil. And I belong to this oldest Brazilian investigation group. It's called CICOANI. It means Centro de Investigação Civil de Objetos Aéreos Não Identificados. And I have been working with them for 18 years now. The group was established right after the World War II. So we're police people, army people, because it's a small town, 60,000 people.
Virginia?
No, Três also my hometown. Okay, so I called some friends and said, could you please check around, stick our noses around there? I'll be there tomorrow, okay? Okay. So I got home, talked to Mom, called Birajara. We set this meeting for the next day. So I was just there. Suddenly a friend of mine called and said, listen, buddy, as we say in Brazil, the jaguar is going to have some water. Like we say, o jaguar, a onça vai beber água. Jaguar is onça. So at that time, it was possible for me to meet the first military witness.
Already?
Yes, at that time. Easy like this. I was surprised. So we had this secret meeting, and I met this guy, and I recorded him for 42 minutes.
That's the recording, yes.
42 minutes. And then he said that on January the 20th, the fireman department had been involved with the capture of this weird creature down in this place, down in the woods in this place in Virginia. And he told me the whole story, that the creature was kind of dizzy, it was easy to capture, and the whole thing, okay?
So how did the military become involved in the first place? Why did he know?
Oh, we're going to reach that point.
All right.
So, this military, I'm calling the military in general because it can be somebody from the fire department, from the military police we have in Brazil, and from the army. So we are talking about 5,000 people in that area. So it's going to be hard to spot who's the guy who's talking to me, who are the guys, because I talked to 14.
Okay.